Today, I'm talking to you about gym equipment. Shit that we can use in a gym that actually makes training easier and more efficient and more effective. A big thing that I see in gyms is people squatting in normal trainers, running shoes, fashion shoes, like shit like this. As much as people will have the mindset of, oh, it's just a pair of fucking trainers, like just go to the gym and train. Yeah, if you're just going to the gym for a social, that's absolutely fine. But if you're actually focused on trying to maximize strength and improve gains and build muscle and get in shape, you have to start thinking up a level. You have to start really paying attention to small little details that have a big impact on how you train. And footwear is so important, especially on a leg day. Most people will wear normal trainers in the gym. Maybe because I've come from a sporting background. So I was educated on the importance of footwear from the age of 14, 15 and how important a role it plays when you're training legs. Now, if we take squats, for example, or to be fair, we could take any leg exercise that requires you to push from the ground up. So a squat, leg press, a hack squat, a leverage squat, any form of pressing that you're doing where your feet are attached to a platform and you have to push through it, you want the right footwear. And the reason why is because we're trying to generate as much power as we can out of the floor. Now, when it comes to training, you'll see in a lot of the form school videos that I post, I talk a lot about pushing through the floor when we're training, because the energy that we can create and generate through pushing through the floor can actually be pushed and transitioned into the weights that we're moving, especially on leg day. Any of you that have ever squatted or, done heavy leg presses or, split squats, bodyweight squats, lunges, you'll know that the wrong footwear can actually be a bit of a hindrance because of stability, because you aren't able to push through the floor. So these are Olympic lifting shoes. Now, I was trained in Olympic lifting at a very young age, and so I've always worn these. The important thing about these shoes isn't how they look, really. I'm a little bit leery, so I like nice colours and stuff. But the most important thing is this heel, okay? So this heel is solid. It's completely solid. There's no give, it's rock hard. The purpose behind that, so that when you're pushing down into the ground in your squats, your heels don't buckle inwards or roll inwards. Your ankles roll inwards, your knees roll inwards, and then that creates a knock-on effect in your form, which is why a lot of people have bad knees and bad backs when they squat. But also more important than that is how your body works. Running shoes typically have a soft sole, and the whole point of the soft sole is the shock absorber. So it absorbs the shock when you're typically running. That's why they're called running shoes. And a lot of people wear running shoes in the gym to train legs with. And so the whole purpose of the heel is to absorb any shock that you're putting down in force through the ground. But what happens is you're trying to use all the force from your heel, but your trainers don't want you to do that. So essentially what they do is, if you look at how the shoe works, it's thick at the back and then it gets thinner as it works towards the front, because you're not trying to push through your toes when you squat, you're trying to push through your heels. But in a running shoe, it's the opposite way round. You're trying to be more on the balls of your feet and less on your heels. So when you wear running shoes in the gym, what typically tends to happen is, because you're trying to put force down through your heel, your trainer isn't designed to do that. So it starts to find the point of least resistance. And so what it does is it slowly finds the thinnest part of your foot, because that's where all the power is, because there's no shock absorption. So what happens when you squat, and you'll see this a lot with people that squat, is they start to tip forward and their heels start to come off the floor. That is purely down to the design of the trainer. So when you have something like Olympic lifting shoes, and these, I've always trained with these. I think these were £110. So you could say that's expensive. I know people walk around in much more expensive shoes than that in the gym. But for what these give you in terms of confidence and stability, and knowing that you're going to be able to generate as much power as you can exert through the floor when you're training, it's worth the investment. Now, if you don't want to buy those, things like Converse, Vans, anything with a really hard sole that when you push it, there's no spongy give. All them running shoes for training legs, just sack it off. There's no point even bothering to wear them. But what it does for your body in the long term, in terms of the biomechanics of how your body's built, it will fuck your body up. And in terms of progress in the gym, it's very hard to increase your lifts and get better and stronger and more confident in the gym if you're constantly worried about what your feet are doing. You need to know that when you put your feet on the floor, they're not going to move. And so lifting shoes are a great way, or hard sole shoes are a great way to change the game when it comes to training your legs. Second, grips. Most people don't train with these because they think it's like professional bodybuilders only, and it's not. Sure, when I used to compete, I used to wear these, but the importance of these grips is when we're in the gym, a lot of what we do involves holding on to something and gripping something. And when you're tired, when you're fatigued, your grip is the first thing that starts to go. Let's say, for example, you're doing a lat pull down and your grip starts to go, you're going to be holding on with your fingers. Now that puts a lot of strain in the top of your hands. It puts a lot of strain in your wrists, and that effectively will start running its way down into your elbows and into your joints because you can't grip it properly with your hands. So now your elbows and your shoulders and all your big mechanical movements are going to have to start helping you pull the weight because your hands can't hold it. Well, that's the wrong form. That's completely the wrong way to be doing it. And just like your squats, things start to break down very quickly and you start to feel it less in your muscles and more in your bones. And that's not what you want. These grips apply, it's like a shiny plastic coated grip, and it just sits in the palm of your hand like this. Obviously, you put that around your wrist and then you just hold on to the bar with this in the palm of your hand, and that acts as the grip for you. And I'm telling you, it's like glue. You could be there all day holding onto that thing and it wouldn't let go. And that is the good thing about these grips, is it acts as grip. But what it does is when your muscles start to fatigue during the set, you can still hold on. And if you can still hold on, that allows your muscles to continue doing the work. You're also, from a confidence perspective, not worried that your grip is going to go before you've even started the set. I've been there. I know what that feels like. You know, like you're going to hold it, you're tired, and you can feel your grip going already. And already in your mind, you're like, fuck, man, I've got to do 10 reps, but my grip's fucked. Like, I'm going to struggle to get through this. These remove that completely. They remove all doubt that your grip is going to go. So the first thing that fails are your muscles, which is what we want, and not your grip. Because a lot of people train and it's not their muscles that are tired, it's their grip's fucked. And they can't hold the barbell or the dumbbell or the machine or the bar or whatever it is. Not because their muscles are tired, because their grip's gone. And when you think about that in the context of building muscle and strength and trying to get in shape, we need our muscles to be failing first, not our grip. So these are the ones that I've always used. I used to have pink ones because, again, I'm Larry. I like a bit of colour in the gym. These are £60. Again, you don't have to buy super expensive ones. I've always used these, so these are the ones that I swear by. In the file section, in one of the PDFs, I've linked some grips. They're a lot cheaper. If you don't want to buy grips, I know there's people that train in the gym that use sponges. So like literally just get like a sponge like that and cut it in half. Then you can put it in your hand and it acts as a grip. Or chalk. I used to use chalk a lot of the time, liquid chalk, but I know a lot of gyms are a bit funny with liquid chalk because it's quite powdery and it goes everywhere. I can tell you now, for £60, it sounds like a lot, but the first pair that I bought lasted me 7 years. So, you know, these are going to last me the next 7 years. So if you think about the money that you're spending and the added benefit of having them when you train, what it gives you in the gym, to me, it's worth the money. Yeah, these grips, I swear by them. These will change the game for you. Next, lifting belts. Now, I only really use lifting belts if I'm doing really, really heavy work and I really need to brace my core. Now, a lot of people think these are supposed to go around your lower back. They're not. They're actually supposed to go around your sort of midline chest, which enables you to breathe out and brace your stomach against the belt, which helps support your core. They're very good if you have lower back issues, if you're squatting particularly heavy outside of your comfort zone. I don't wear this as much anymore because I don't lift stupid heavy weights anymore, because you don't really need to. But what I like is knowing that if I need it, it's there. Just if I'm, might wake up and have a bit of a twinge in my back or something don't feel right, I can put this on And again, it acts as a confidence barrier for me going into an exercise, knowing that I've got the additional support. I'm not worried about my back going into the exercise because I've got my belt and I'm going to brace my core against my belt. More so now, I prefer to let my core do the bracing itself. So for a lot of my training in the early years, for the first 4 or 5 years, I didn't wear a belt because I built up my core strength from doing the squats and the deadlifts and the benches and training, and just let my core naturally engage itself. But then when you reach a certain level, I think I got up to squatting like 220 kilos and benching 170 kilos. And deadlifting 230 kilos, I think it was. You need a belt then, because unless you're a freak, and to be honest, I was never built to be big, so my bone structure and body isn't really built for it, so I needed the additional support. More so now, not too much, because I don't lift silly weights anymore, and none of you will either, because as time evolves, as people evolve, you start to realize, as knowledge evolves, as you start to learn more and expand more, you realize building a body doesn't actually require you to lift the entire gym to get in shape. A lot of people will tell you otherwise, but for a longevity perspective, you want to be training really for as much of your life as you can. Lifting heavy ass weight is gonna slow that down rapidly once you hit 40, 50. Trust me. These are good, just again for a confidence boost. I keep this in my bag. I don't ever use it, but just in the case where I may need it, I know it's there. And last but not least, elbow and knee sleeves. Again, very Larry color because I like color in the gym, but these are essentially what go over your elbows or your knees. And I use these more in the winter when it's colder and I need my joints to stay warm. When you are training and it's cold, the most important thing is to keep your joints warm. Now, we obviously do that by warming up, but again, when you're in the winter, when it's cold, your body will cool down very, very quickly. So I use knee sleeves to keep my joints warm and keep the blood around my joints so that when I go into my next set, I don't feel cold and stiff and sort of weak, so to speak, because again, that plays in the mind. And when you're training, you need everything to be focused on what you're doing when you're training, not worried about, oh, is my grip gonna go? Or my back hurts, or my knees feel cold, like my knees, I've got pain in my knees or pain in my elbows. And so I'll keep these on the whole session just purely to keep my joints warm. Now, you can use them as a support. You can get elbow wraps where you can wrap round and knee wraps where you can wrap round. But again, that's predominantly for people that lift silly, crazy weight because your knee joints and elbow joints just can't manage that weight on their own. So they need a little bit of support. I used to, when I used to lift heavier weights, I used to have like really, really tight ones. So I'd like really have to sort of force my arm into them. And they were more for support because of the amount of weight that I was lifting. Whereas more so now, I wear these just to keep my joints warm. So those are a few things in the gym that you should investigate and definitely look into. I've created a file. There's links for all of them in there. If you've got any questions, please do ask. But for sure, those are some things that could definitely help improve your training sessions.